This is a 40-year-old car. It doesn't run, has been off the road for 25 years and it came in parts. A lot of parts. And this is me.
It shouldn't be that hard, right?
Do you see where this is going? Previously I brought this car home, cleared out all of the parts and tried to get it started. I changed out the timing belt, drained the old fuel, replaced the water pump and completely rebuilt the master brake cylinder and booster. I'm very happy to say that after all my hard work and dedication, it did not start. So this week I'm back with a fresh mind, a box full of parts, lovely weather and a positive mindset to finally get this thing started.
You better start up this time.
Or well, I hope so. So last time you might have seen me discover the state of the fuel lines and well, let's just say they weren't great.
And so the first thing right now is to replace those crusty old fuel lines just to make sure that the car doesn't catch fire. So I have some new fuel lines somewhere and it's just a matter of cutting them to size and replacing them with the old ones. So let's do that.
I have a few meters of fuel hose which weren't expensive and it's just a matter of cutting and replacing, so that's not too difficult. I did forget to order new clips, but since there's really not any pressure between the tank and the pump, I think they can go again just fine, but maybe I'll replace them in the future. The pump itself is also pretty old and full of gunk, so that's going to need replacing as well, but that will have to wait for later in the video due to shipping. Since I was working in the engine bay, I also just mounted the rebuilt brake booster and cleaned the area behind it with some degreaser. And it's safe to say that below dashboard parts aren't really my thing. Since I was pretty bored and waiting for parts, me and my buddy Wessel started wiring in the speakers, and this was pretty easy since there are no electronics in the door whatsoever except for the speakers, so there's not a lot of wiring to mess with. I also have a set of extra speakers that came with the car and these mount next to your feet, and I don't really know if this is an original upgrade or something aftermarket, but I figured that they would be pretty cool to install nevertheless. With some threaded bushings I could put them in place, and next up we just wanted to fit the dashboard back to get a feel for the interior. And it may not look like much, but to me it does slowly start to look like a car again. We also started to mess with some of the electronics and surprisingly most things actually worked. Then we found out the sunroof is removable, which is really nice, and some other stuff which was less nice.
Yep. Het is wel meer dan een beetje.
But I couldn't really be bothered because the car just really started to come together and I could not be more happy. So the next morning I took a look at the heater core and well, it's definitely leaking from somewhere. Therefore I just cleaned all of the leaves and dirt out before testing the actual heater core itself, but the results were fairly clear.
Alright, so here's the heater matrix and as you can see, when I fill it up with the water, as the English like to call it, it's clearly leaking. So yeah, let's order a new one. I saw one online already for 22 euros, which is nice. So that means that we're still keeping this within budget. Oh yeah, and trust me, I'm really aware that I'm in no position to lecture others about their English accents. But let's fit the new heater core. Okay.
Alright, so with the new heater core on order, let's work on something else, and after I saw how dirty and clogged the old fuel lines and pump were, I decided to also rebuild the carburetor. After removing that, I mounted the rebuilt brake cylinder and I already poured some new brake fluid in, even though the brakes will of course need some bleeding before the first test drive.
Alright, so I don't really know anything about carburetors just because I've never worked on them and they are not really a part of my generation anymore, but I'm still trying to learn and understand and of course rebuild this one. So I measured the ports and this one is a 28 and this is a 32. So I typed in Weber 2832 and I found a TDLM version, which I don't really know what that is, but I ordered a kit for it. Oh yeah, and I've also found a video of a guy taking this exact carburetor apart and servicing it. So that will be a nice little guide because otherwise I would have to do it with this book over there, which should work, but having a video is pretty nice.
So here it is, the carburetor, and it's really essential that this works right before I can even get close to starting this car. So first of all, a big thanks to Andy who made a clear video about this carburetor and I linked it in the description if any of you have the same one. But next up, I just started taking things apart. So the first thing that I'm taking off is the anti-run-on solenoid. And it makes sure that when you turn the car off, there's no more fuel going into the engine, so it's actually turning the car off. After that, I'm removing the second fuel pump, and this is a pretty weird one. When you punch the throttle, it activates this little cam and squirts some extra fuel into the car. Then I took a look at this big diaphragm, and luckily it's still in one piece because I didn't get this one with the kit. This is used for opening the second throttle, and by using a vacuum for doing that, it only opens up at high RPMs. If you were to open it at low RPMs, the car wouldn't respond very well due to the massive drop in airflow. And that's also something that I've just learned, but might seem normal to some of you watching, but I'm really learning as I go. The float, which seems to be a scaled down version of a toilet tank, relies on a little needle to control the amount of fuel, and since this is a common failure point, I replaced it with a brand new one. And after cleaning all of the nozzles, parts, passages and mating surfaces, it's mostly a case of throwing everything back together with some new gaskets and seals. Finally, since the kit didn't come with any of the lower manifold gaskets, I cut those out of some gasket paper, which is pretty fun to do. So like I mentioned before, I think that the fuel pump was faulty and causing some of the problems.
So might as well replace it with a brand new one.
And mounting this is really simple because it just screws off the back of the head and needs a couple of hoses disconnected before it can be removed. Which is again a lot simpler than the cars with fuel injection. Most of the work is just scraping off the old gaskets and mounting the new ones with the new fuel pump. And it's not very exciting, but it needs to be done properly just to make sure that it doesn't leak any oil. So with the new pump, lines and the refreshed carburetor, all we now need is some fuel and it should in theory fire up. So I stole some fuel from my dad's lawnmower, please don't tell him, and I chucked a couple of liters into the tank. Then I had to figure out how to turn off the wipers, since they had no rubbers on them, and I didn't want them scratching the windshield, which proved to be pretty difficult.
Nah.
So we primed the fuel pump, and when the car was full, it was time to see if this thing will actually run.
In theory, so it has fuel, it has oil, it sounds like it has compression, it should have spark because the previous owner changed all of that stuff. So it should fire up.
Close. It's close.
It wants to. Oh. Should we check if all the cylinders have spark?
Yeah, maybe we should.
Yeah, we should.
It has stood still for nearly 30 years.
It is nearly standing still for 30 years, rough.
It's still standing still for 30 years. It hasn't moved.
I guess just go again.
Ah, that was the closest one yet. Okay, wait, so it does not want to start unless you mash the throttle, right?
I don't know.
Because it's only when I see the throttle body move is when it actually does something. So that just means it's not getting enough fuel. Or air.
Or spark. Because the car seemed to backfire sometimes, I tried adjusting the timing and even tried to think about the timing, which proved to be very difficult.
So we made the timing go more this way, which also made the camshaft go... Is the camshaft or the thing? Wait. Explain why we need to go the other way with the timing. I feel like that should be a pretty decent move. And if this doesn't work, we'll order like a timing light or something, and we'll dive into some books and try and figure it out. But I really want to get it started, of course. So let's try retarding.
Yeah.
Retarding the timing a bit more.
So since we decided that for now we weren't smart enough to solve this problem, we would be better off fixing something else. Which is why we have not one, but two radiators. The Fiesta came with a new main radiator, so I figured why not replace the old one. So while Wessel started replacing the radiator, I mounted the heater core underneath the dash, which was lovely. After it slides into its heater box, all I need to do is mount the hoses back up to the little pipes and it's done. And because Wessel was taking forever with the radiator, I quickly painted some spots with rust converter before he could mount everything back up. And now, even though the old one seemed to be in decent shape, now I know that this car is going to get all of the cooling that it needs. And after witnessing the most steady pour I've ever seen, we figured that we should try starting it again, but with some additional brake cleaner this time. And even though it wasn't really perfect, I think this almost counts as a first startup. The following days I tried and checked multiple things to get this car running right, but sadly I just could not find a single clue to help me figure out the problem.
I decided to change out the spark plugs because I had some new NGK ones anyway, which were, I don't know, like €2 or something, because the car still won't start. And I've checked the firing order, I've checked the timing of the firing, not with a timing light, but just by eye. I rechecked the timing belt like 5 times by now, so I thought I made a mistake with that, but that didn't turn out to be true, so luckily I am not to blame. So now I'm changing out the spark plugs because, I don't know, might as well. And the first thing that I noticed is that some of the little heads on top of the spark plug were loose, which could cause something. And there's one of them, and I don't really remember which one it was, but one of them has a small crack in it. Oh, it's this one, I'll show you in a bit. So this one has sort of a, yeah, it's a crack in the ceramic, which won't really help with firing, but it's not something that's that bad that it should like backfire and stumble and not do anything at all. So, but I'm changing these out and then I'm rechecking the firing order once again. I just don't know why it doesn't want to start, because it's been a couple of days and like what's the problem? I just don't know, because it has spark, it has fuel for sure, because I smell fuel all the time and you can see it like firing in the carburetor if you open up the choke, and you see it going out when it's backfiring. I just don't get what's wrong with this car. I don't know.
It's funny how these things happen when you're outside in the rain and about to give up. After adjusting and trying so many different things, I just could not figure it out, and therefore some simple new spark plugs really were my last hope to get it running.
The spark plugs, which will not have made a difference, but anyway. Look at it go! All right, Pluto! What? Ziek hè? Hè? Oh. Still works though. Oh, Pluto. Whew. All right, that's it for today.